I was just scrolling through my Instagram highlights the other day, and it got me thinking about how over this past year of me doing social media, I've grown so much, and it's been pretty wild. So I thought I would sit here and kind of talk to you about my journey, because it's been pretty cool, and I really want to share that with you all. So I started all of this in July of 2024. I started with a YouTube channel. I started with this here. I didn't expand to TikTok or Instagram until late May 2025. So that was pretty crazy. But I started just because I was having fun with it, and I was baking a lot, and my dad suggested, hey, why don't you post your recipes on YouTube? I never thought of becoming a content creator or an influencer or anything like that, and I still don't think of myself as one. I don't really know why. I just don't like that term very much, but I never was in it for so many followers or views or likes or any of that. It just kind of happened, which is the craziest thing, because I'm just a girl with a camera, alright? And I'm still trying to figure this out as I go. So on YouTube here, when I started, I was 16. I had just broken my hip. It was not very fun. Because I broke my hip because I was dealing with REDS, which is relative energy deficiency in sport. That's a whole other subject. I have other videos on that if you want to watch. But I was terrified of showing my face. I was terrified of people hearing my voice. The YouTube algorithm made things really hard for me because it thought I was a lot younger than I am. And it still does, and so it still doesn't really push my videos out sometimes. But it's okay, because I'm still, trying to build it up a little bit every day. So that's besides the point. I was just posting recipe videos. You can go back and find them, but I rarely ever showed my face at the beginning. So then in April 2025, I hit 1,000 subscribers on here, and I was like, wow, this is so crazy. This is amazing, because it blew my mind, because I was like, 1,000 people chose to follow me and listen to my videos and get my recipes. That's insane. That's so crazy. And it made me so happy because, at the time I was in the thick of just loneliness and dealing with REDS and underfeeling, and I was not very confident in myself. I was trying to gain more weight, and that was kind of mentally challenging, and just there was a lot of things going on, and that was kind of one of my little hobbies. I was just so lonely, and so I was like, that's crazy that many people want to pay attention to me. So then in late May 2025, I decided, why don't I expand my horizons to TikTok and Instagram? Mind you, I had never had these apps before. I never had personal social media before. Not because I wasn't allowed, but just because I didn't want to, I guess. I don't know. So I downloaded TikTok and Instagram, and I was worried because I thought those apps would do the same thing with not pushing my videos out because of my baby face, but I did not know that wasn't how they worked. But I posted my first video on TikTok. It was a video of my wiener dog, Bucky, who is actually sitting on the bed behind me right there. But because people on YouTube, those videos always did really, really well on YouTube. And so I was like, I'll post a little video of Bucky. And I remember in the first 30 minutes on TikTok, it got like 800 views. And I thought that was insane, because I was like, how? That's crazy. That's so many. But I didn't know how TikTok or Instagram worked. I had no idea what a story was or how to post. Like, it was all a very big learning curve, if you will. So, yeah. About a month and a half after I first started posting on TikTok and Instagram, I had one video get a lot of views. I don't know if it would be considered viral, but it got, I believe 1 million views on TikTok, and then almost 1 million on Instagram. And it was a shopping vlog of me going shopping, because my mom gave me $20, and we were getting our hair done together, but mine was finished first, so she gave me $20 to go blow. So it was a video of me going shopping, and a bunch of people, it went viral not for the best reasons, but because a bunch of people were debating my age and calling me a liar and saying they were going to report me because I wasn't really 17, which I was. I just have a baby face. It happens a lot, It's very... I've been told I'll love it in the future, my baby face, but Anyway, no, I had people debating that, so that was fun and calling me names, and it was kind of shocked because that was the first time anything had ever reached that many people, that volume of people, and just the constant flow of comments coming at me was a lot to manage, and it was a lot to take in. The positivity, the negativity, all of it. But then my account slowly started growing, and I had 5,000 followers, and I was like, that's insane. I still only have, 1,000 on YouTube, but maybe TikTok and Instagram can work. And so it just started slowly growing over there. Then, about in late June, early July, I think, somebody asked for my protein ball recipe. So I posted a video of my protein ball recipe, and it's the one that's pinned to my TikTok and Instagram pages now because people always go back to it, and it's my recipe, you know what I mean? I love my recipe. So that video went viral. I would say that one was viral. And not exactly for the best reason. People were, again, criticizing me, skinny shaming me, calling me names, debating my age, debating whether I actually ate, calling my recipe unhealthy because it uses Cheerios and protein powder, criticizing all the calories in the protein balls, whatever. So that was not the best thing, because when people are constantly arguing back and forth and you're seeing all these things about yourself, I know it's easy to say, oh, just don't look at the comments, but it's way easier said than done. But I also got a lot of positivity out of that one, and people loved it. People loved the recipe. People were asking for more like running videos and tips and tricks, and more people were following me. And then a guy called the Plant Slant, Liam, I was starstruck. Okay, this is the moment where I was like, I've made it. He reviewed my protein ball recipe, and he made a whole video on it, and that turned a lot of people over to my account. So I am very, very eternally grateful that he did that, and I just think that's so cool that he reviewed my recipe. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm still starstruck a little bit, but he reviewed that recipe, and then it got more views and more positivity, and so that was a really great thing. And then my account, I hit 20,000 followers on Instagram and on TikTok pretty much together, and each one had 20,000 followers, and it was insane. I remember going on a bike ride one day with my brothers, and my phone was just non-stop going off with comments and alerts that people were following me, and it was crazy because I was like, how is this real? How is this happening? I don't know. But it was insane because, like I said, I did not think I was anything special. I could not fathom that many people wanted to watch my videos. I still can't. If you've made it this far into the video, I'm like shocked. Like, I think they call this imposter syndrome, but I can't believe what I've done, and I don't want to sound egotistical or cocky about that. I just can't believe it. So then at one point I remember talking to my dad about it, and he's the one that encouraged me to start social media in the first place. He always loves me and believes in me and always supports me and all that, but let's be honest, neither of us ever thought that it would have gotten to that point, let alone where it is now. But when I had, broke 20,000 followers, and then, later down the road, 50,000 followers, like, neither of us thought that it would get to that point. I remember talking to him, and we were both so shocked, and we were both like, this isn't a joke. Like, it was crazy. And now, at the point of me making this video, I have almost 1 million on TikTok and 570,000 on Instagram, which is crazy because I still can't even comprehend that people would want to spend even just a few minutes of their day watching my videos. But you do, and you're here, and I love you. I love you guys so much. I'm very, very grateful for that. So that was up until that point. But I remember looking at those videos, and I even go back and watch them now, and I'm like, oh wow, I was so little. Like, even though that was just a year ago, I'm like, oh, I was so little. I was so new to this. I'm still trying to figure it out. I still don't know how to do the fancy editing. I still do not have fancy editing or the super aesthetic background. Look at me right now. I'm sitting at my desk. But no, I don't have the typical content style that you see online, right? And I don't look all professional and polished, and I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I don't know what hashtags to use or how to make a good thumbnail, or like, shoot, if you scroll on my feed right now, everyone has these aesthetic little Instagram feeds, and mine is, pictures of my face. I'm like, it's just funny. Now, I will say I'm very glad that I got out of my comfort zone and started showing my face, because as more and more people started showing up on social media, people started asking for more, day in the life, and I started experimenting with doing more recipes, more running tips, more like get to know me, spend the day with me, that sort of thing that I do so often now so easily, but it was so hard back then because I was so scared to show my face and my voice, and I was so scared of being judged. But I'm really glad I got out of my comfort zone and I did start doing that, because it helped me become a much more confident person, even though I'm still learning how to be confident, right? That's something that comes inward. I can't tell you how to become confident. It's kind of a fake it till you make it sort of thing. You got to look inward and you got to figure out for yourself, how do I do this? How do I become confident? But this is one of the things that helped me. It helped me kind of find worth in myself. And so at the very least, I want to give that back to you guys. I want to do videos that you find valuable in some way, whether that's helping you feel less alone, or helping you find value in yourself, or inspiring you to go run and be stronger, or giving you a recipe that you find fun, or that tastes good, or that's gluten-free, you know what I mean? So this is kind of my way of giving back, because all your support has helped me see value in myself, especially at a time when I really wasn't seeing any value in myself. So that really means a lot to me, more than I can even say. But yeah, that was the start of it. Also taught me that I can't live my life according to what other people will perceive me as or judge me as, right? Me not wanting to show my face because I was worried about people judging me, the judgment happened. It still would have anyway. But if I would have waited until I felt ready, I never would have posted anything at all. You never feel ready. You just gotta do it. Because it made me realize that my life is mine to live. For me. Not for other people. Not for what other people want me to do. Even if it makes people cringe, or it makes them upset, or makes them judge me. Who cares? They're not me. So why should I let them rule over my life and how I go about my days? I shouldn't. And that was kind of a hard pill to swallow and a hard lesson to learn, but I'm glad I did, and I hope I can help you guys learn the same. We're all learning together. So then, my account kept growing a little bit by little, and I was posting more. It was cross-country season, so I was posting more cross-country vlogs and things like that. And then September rolls around, and that was homecoming season, and this is where a lot of people found me. I made a video about, people were asking about my homecoming dress, and kind of my plans for homecoming. So I just went to make another, little daily video where I showed my homecoming dress. That was my one and only, and I mentioned in there, this is my only homecoming dress that I've ever had, because in 9th grade, I got the dress and I was bullied a lot. I was bullied a lot 9th grade year, but homecoming was no different. They made fun of the dress, but I didn't want to go to homecoming 10th grade year, so I didn't get another dress. And then I didn't want to go to homecoming again 11th grade year, so I didn't get another dress. And this is my senior year. Here's my dress. Should I go to homecoming? And I just kind of casually mentioned I don't really have any friends to go with. I have been bullied. And I wasn't trying to make a sob story or anything like that, but that video went viral. And it shocked the heck out of me. Because, wow, first of all, a lot of people were supporting me, and the fact that they also felt bullied at some point, or they felt like the underdog. And a lot of people were talking about mental health and how it made them feel less alone, or how, it was good to know that they weren't the only one without a real friend group who didn't want to go to dances, or, and it made me feel really good knowing that, wow, a lot of people are in the same boat as me. I hadn't shared it before because I was embarrassed of not having friends. I hadn't shared the fact that I was alone because I was embarrassed, because you kind of think most people have friends, especially senior year. You don't want to do senior year alone. But fun fact, I did senior year pretty alone. Like, I didn't do basically any of the senior activities. But that's okay, that's a story for another day. But it felt reassuring to me to know that I'm not the only one in this situation. Maybe I should share it with more people. Maybe it would help more people. So I did. And I kept sharing more little tidbits about kind of just my journey with bullying, being bullied and being alone throughout high school. My journey with mental health, which I've struggled with from a very young age. My journey with, just feeling alone and not having a ton of friends. Hold on one second. My camera is going to die. Alright, I'm back. I believe we just finished talking about, in September, the homecoming dress video that I shared. So, I shared that video and that ended up blowing up, and after that my account, it all pretty much snowballed, and I went from 20,000, or no, at that point I was probably around 50,000 followers. I went from 50,000 followers to 100,000, and then within a few weeks it got up to 500,000 on TikTok and almost 200,000 on Instagram, and it was crazy. It was amazing. I was getting a lot of love and support. There was definitely hate too, but I try to focus on the positives. And it was just really insane, and I have always been very appreciative of the fact that so many people wanted to listen to me, That's crazy to me. People always ask me if I was ever embarrassed of my classmates or people I know from school seeing my videos, and the answer to that is honestly no, because I didn't really talk to anyone at school. I was very isolated anyway, and I didn't have close friends that it would matter much, I guess, if you will say. I didn't really talk to many people, so I wasn't ever embarrassed. If you're embarrassed, if you want to post something, like if you want to start social media, do it. And if you are embarrassed or worried that people are going to see it and they're not going to want to be your friend anymore, or they're going to make fun of you, they were never your friend to begin with. So yeah, I've just kind of that's been my social media journey so far. I keep posting. I keep doing a lot of really cool things. I think the coolest thing I've done so far was in November last year. Garmin invited me to their HQ, and I got to do a little tour, which was really, really cool, really fun. And they made me a little welcome poster and everything. It was really cool. That's probably the coolest thing I've ever done. But I attribute a lot of this to you guys, because over this past year I've learned a lot about myself. And I think in a lot of ways I needed this. I needed something that would get me out of my head. I needed something that would help me overcome reds and underfueling, that would help me, gain weight and strength and confidence in myself back. I needed something that would help me realize that I do have value, and I'm not just a loner, and I won't always be a loner. I needed something that would help me better articulate my thoughts and not be so socially awkward. I'm a very painfully shy person, but this has kind of forced me in a way to get out of my shy little bubble and help me get better at talking to people and being a little less socially awkward and better at small talk and just not so shy, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people see confidence when they look at my videos now, but confidence was never something that I always thought I had. I truthfully have always been a loner and have always kind of thought, oh, I'm just going to be a loner for the rest of my life. I'm just going to be a background character. I'm not going to be the most successful. I don't deserve, that kind of life. I don't deserve to be as happy as I could. I've always kind of had that mentality, but this has helped me see that everyone's version of success is very different. Everyone's version of what makes you happy is very different. And if I can help other people come to realize that too, because I don't have it all figured out. We're all kind of growing and figuring it out along the way together, and that's something beautiful that I really like about this too. But so my videos, like I said before, this is kind of, it's a small way of doing so, but I feel like this is a good way for me to put positivity into the world and inspire others to do the same. So, people kind of ask me a lot for tips about my social media, about how to do social media, about my social media journey, whatever. I think, maybe that'll be a good video. I'll do a Q&A where I answer some of your questions about social media sometime. So stay on the lookout. I'll post that on my Instagram story for questions sometime soon. But my biggest tip, I have always kept this fun, and I always intend to keep it fun and authentic. And I have a very hard time being a fake person, so I guess there's that. You're always just going to get real raw Kaylee, but for better or for worse. But I've always kept this fun. I always intend to keep this fun. I never, if I don't feel like posting something, or if I don't feel fully there, I'm not going to post something, you know what I mean? I never want anything to be forced. I just kind of want it to be fun. So my biggest tip is, don't force yourself to fit into the mold of what you think a content creator looks like, because if you don't do things that make you happy, if you don't make content that makes you happy, you're going to have a really hard time making it. And it's going to feel like a chore. This, for me, is a hobby. It's fun. And I'm not going to lie. That's not to say that it doesn't take hard work and a lot of time, because it does. I spend hours filming and editing and kind of managing comments, and you have to understand too that people get a perception of who you are and what your reputation is, and that can be a lot to kind of stomach. But it's so my biggest tip is just keep it fun. Keep it fun. Stay true to you. Stay true to what you love doing, and you'll succeed. That's a good piece of advice for basically anything. A couple things I've learned throughout this past year that I think are very valuable things to learn is that, well, one, popularity doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get a lot of friends. Just because I have a lot of followers doesn't mean that I've magically made a bunch more friends, or that people at school suddenly started being nicer to me. A lot of people actually make fun of this, teachers included. So if you're watching this and you are one of those people, hi, I see you, I hear things. No, but in all seriousness, you can have millions of people watching your videos but have very little real connection in real life. And I don't share a ton of my personal life when it comes to friendships and relationships and things like that, because I like to have some separation, I guess. But I have a few, like 2 or 3 people I talk to sometimes outside of school. But yeah. So, in sum, I still have hard days. I still struggle a lot with mental health. I still doubt myself a lot. But I have learned that, you know what? I have value, and so do you. One person can make a difference, and I hope I can inspire you to add a little bit more positivity into the world, however you can, and maybe you can do the same for someone else. I never intended for any of this to happen. I just was sharing recipes online because I broke my hip and I was baking a lot, and my dad told me to. But somehow, it turned into something a whole lot bigger than just recipes, and I am eternally grateful for this community and every single person that has been a part of it. I am so grateful for you for watching this video and my other videos that I make. And I want you to know that I really, 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 really mean that, and I really appreciate you being here and just giving me a few minutes of your day. So that's kind of my social media journey, and my thoughts and what it's taught me thus far. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's crazy how all of that and all of these thoughts stemmed from me just looking through my old Instagram highlights, but a lot can happen in a year, and a lot has happened in a year. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you know what? Stay tuned for more, because I love doing this, and I intend to do it as long as it makes me happy.